I'm sure at one point or another in your life, you've heard a phrase that says absence makes the heart grow fonder. Now, they typically use that as it relates to relationships or people that have been intimate or they're on that level of trying to be together or they used to be together, right? In this sense, I'm suggesting that you go absent for a while, not to be cruel, not to punish somebody, but number one, to improve yourself, but also so people can understand what you bring to the table. Typically, when you're around people every day, all the time, as they say, familiarity breeds contempt. So the fact that somebody knows that you're going to be there all the time, or they know that you're there all the time, what that does is they tend to take you for granted. No matter how good you are, no matter how great you are, it seems that when people either they've been around you so much or they know your flaws, what tends to happen is they say, this person's going to be there, or that person's going to be there. Now, you can be a superstar to the world. And how you can test it is go and speak to the spouses of the people that we revere so much. And I guarantee you those people will be like, oh, him, he ain't nothing, because they know everything. Or her, I've been with her for 15 years. Because you've been with someone or you've been in their presence for so long, you don't see them as the world sees them. This is why they say, I think it's biblically, a prophet is without honor in its own home. So your mother, your father, all these people that have known you, they're not going to look at you the way that the world looks at you if you've done some special things or if you're doing special things. So what even I had to do was I had to move away from my family in order to become what I needed to become. Not because they were negative or anything, but they didn't necessarily see everything how I saw it. And so the things that I was saying, they wouldn't take them into consideration, especially in terms of health. But if somebody else said it, they would listen, or they would bring it back to me and I would say, man, I told you that 15 times or 20 times. So sometimes going absent helps you to put energy into yourself more to improve at what it is that you're doing and quiet the noise, the chatter of people that may not respect you as they should or may not appreciate you as they should. You can be the world's greatest whatever. When you're around someone each and every day, it's normal or natural for human beings to depreciate you a little bit. It's like your car that you've been driving for 5 years. You don't look at that car the same way you did as the first day you bought it or the first week that you had it. It's your car. I'm used to the car, and this is what it is. And so when you get the new car, what tends to happen is you start all over from scratch and then you're back to that same point. This is what people do because psychologically, human beings are never satisfied. They always are looking for new, something that is new. By using absence, you can appear new. You can reinvent yourself or you can come back refreshed. Sometimes it's important to take a step back in order to go forward. So taking yourself out of somebody's life, especially people that don't appreciate you, is a good thing because you're doing it for yourself, but you're also helping them to understand the void that is going to be there when you're no longer around. So when you come back, there's going to be supreme appreciation, and you may even come back better, or you may not come back at all. Either way, because people do have tendencies to not show love to that which is constant. that which is always around them. You see it every day when children are told something by their parents. Now, our parents have told us the same thing that somebody, our coach or somebody, but because our coach or somebody else has said it, what happens? We want to listen to that, but our parents have told us the same thing, and probably 10 times, 15 times, 20 times. So pulling back, now obviously if you're a parent, you can't go absent on your child, but in terms of relationships with people of all types, you get more respect when you pull off the scene, because now people are starting to wonder, what is it that this person is doing? Remember, in general, whether we know it or not, people want access to our mind. That's what they want access to. Because having access to your mind gives them control. This is why they said, what are you doing? What did you eat? What are you about to do? What are you studying in college? They want to know what's going on in your mind, because not always, but typically human beings can be manipulative in the sense that they want to change the situation so that they can get what it is that they want. We all want this. We all want what we want. But the best situation is to want what you want, but also to want what others want, so that you can come to understandings amicably and everybody can win. That's the best way to be, where you win, I win, we all win. Nobody's disgruntled, nobody's happy, nobody's used up. Because right now, as we see it, a lot of relationships of all kinds, they're not mutually beneficial. So it's not a relationship, it's a robbery. Because one person is usually self-absorbed and they're looking for what they can get out of you and out of this one and out of that one, and they're not looking to bring anything to the situation. Or often they're very narcissistic, which is an entirely different issue. So pulling back also helps you to see the situation for what it is. When you're not in a situation, you can have a more clear understanding of what's going on. Case in point, when we used to play ball, we would play and our coaches would say something, teammates would say something, things that were going on in the game, but you're in the game, you're in the action, so you're not thinking about what you can't see, what they can see. But what happens the day you get injured and you have to sit out for 3 or 4 or 5 games, you have a totally different mentality because you're watching from the sideline. And so you can clearly see the mistakes that are being made by your teammates and what might lead to a win and what may lead to a loss, because you're not involved. Somebody's calling me. You're not involved at all. What was this guy? So that's the point. The entire point is that you have to understand that sometimes taking a step back can help you to see clearly. And then when you get back into the situation, now you can make better moves. You can make better decisions because you're a product of your decisions in this life. You're a product of your thoughts, but you're more a product of your decisions. Whatever decision you make is going to lead, or it's going to alter or change your future in some way, either for the better or for the worse. But having understanding is going to help you. And also getting away from people that don't appreciate you is also going to help you, because that negative energy weighs on you. And typically people that don't appreciate you, either they disrespect you or they want to use you in some way. Because people that they respect, when you respect somebody, you don't use them. You don't want to use them. Not at all. If a woman is dating a guy, and this is just a simple example, or vice versa, we can go there, right? But usually you don't ask. Let's say if we're going out, there's going to be consideration. If you really like me, there's going to be consideration for where we go to eat. You're not going to try to take me to the craziest restaurant and say, all right, we want plates for $700. You're going to think about me and my wallet. There's going to be consideration, right? Same thing for a man. You're not going to want to live up on a woman and drain her because you know that she likes you. And so you sitting up, you're not paying rent, you're not doing anything, you're not helping out in any kind of way, you're draining her. You're not going to do that to somebody that you respect. Or you're going to do it. Sometimes we fall on hard times and things happen temporarily. And because they happen temporarily, it's just a part of life. But you're not going to continue to do that. Or if you have to do that, you're going to feel a certain way. You're going to say, that don't really sit well with me. I have to do it. I have to survive, right? Because survival of the fittest is at the top of the laws of nature. So you're not going to be thinking, I'm going to milk this person dry. If you respect them, that's not how you think. You're always considerate of these people. How you move, how you speak, what you do to them. That's why typically in relationships, a man, most importantly, always wants respect first. The love can come. But respect, when a man or woman is respected, there are things that people just won't do to them. When a person is respected, there are things that you just won't do, or people won't do to you. That's why respect is very important. So, taking a leave of absence, going absent for a while, is very beneficial, because on one side, they can feel the absence, and on the other side, you can recharge your battery. You get to better see, take a step back and see what's going on. And make a game plan. Because when you're in the game, you react more than anything. You can't plan. Just like when we're playing on the court, we can't see everything, so we react to the situations. But when you're on the sideline, you can plan and you can see things better. So it's always good to do that, especially in volatile environments or in situations where you feel like you're not being appreciated. You see how people treat others, and then you see how people treat you. Now, you know that your value is there. You know what you're doing. And it's not necessarily a reflection of you, but what people do to you. Here's the rub. What people do to you is based upon how they think about you, how they behave with you, how they treat you versus how they treat others. And you just watch. One of the best ways to help you develop in life is just to watch people. To people watch. The answers are always in front of you. It's not necessarily what somebody is saying that's going to make the difference. It's what they're doing. Because what people say and what people do and what people say they do are all three different things. So it's all about watching behavior. When you can watch behavior, you can master the psychology. You can understand how to deal with people from all walks of life, which is important. And that's all we want to do, is to help you to have the highest experience that you can possibly have. Now, you also have to understand that not everybody grew up in the same home as you did. Not everybody grew up in the same environment as you did. So that means that what you may think is right, another person may not think is right according to how they've lived their lives, how they grew up. And so that's where understanding has to take place. But you're not going to know that if you're always entrenched in a situation. So you may have to step back, especially if something offends you. If something offends you, you step back before you start reacting. You want to step back so that you can respond, not so that you can react. What reacting is in the moment. Responding is you think about it and you make a decision that's based upon, or hopefully it's based in wisdom. So create the absence. So where everybody's like, well, what's going on? Where's this person at? Usually when you do that, I've seen this happen before. When you create absence, people start to self-reflect. Usually people know when they've done wrong. And when they self-reflect, they always say, well, did I do something? and they start going through their mind. I know because I've done it. They start going through their mind about the things, and then they can identify and realize, depending upon how long you're gone, they can identify and realize what they did. Because they'll go down a list of things that they didn't even realize was in their brain. They'll go down the list and they'll evaluate and say, that must have been what it was. Or you knew what you did in the moment. But creating absence is not solely about because somebody did something to you. It's simply that you need time to charge your battery. The world is fast-paced, and because it's fast-paced, you don't have time. You wake up, you eat, you work, you lunch, you work, you take public transportation, you might work out if you can. If you have a relationship, you got that. There's no time for the battery to charge. So essentially, being absent allows the battery to charge. You have to go absent ever so often for the battery to charge, because there's no time for you at all, ever, because the battery is consistently and completely getting drained all the time. Somebody is always asking or requiring something of you. So that means that the battery is getting drained. The battery is never being filled or charged. So creating absence is not necessarily about against people. Like they did something to you. That's a part of it, but it's more so for you to recharge yourself, to understand yourself. The most important book that you have to master is the book of self. You need to know who you are, and you need to know how you're going to react in different situations. So you should constantly be evaluating your own behavior, as well as the behavior of other people, as well as the behavior of the other people as it relates to you, towards you. If you don't like what you're getting from other people, you take a step back, you start to change your behavior. And by changing your behavior, you get back into the field and you see how they respond against that. It's like being in the laboratory. You're testing things. You're a mad scientist. Science is the study of what is the natural world, the physical world, or something like that, how things respond. You're observing. That's what science is, observation. You're observing. And so we're all scientists. The best scientists are the ones that do the most tests. They run the most tests because they can figure out what doesn't work. And the more they figure out what doesn't work, they get closer to what does work. Now, what does work and what doesn't work is contingent upon each and every person's individual life, goals, and aspiration. But I'm putting at the top of that is going absent for a while to help recharge, to study yourself, and come back new.